People get ready. Yeah. Where has this country come from? It's been forever and a day.
Hi, this is Hard and Wallet, and I am Marray,
And TK.
and we would like to thank you to coming to our checking us out on our podcast. So today we want to talk about something that's near and dear to our hearts, and that's basically financial planning for our kids' future, or helping them negotiate financial planning. And so we've come up with a list of activities or things that we think would be beneficial for every parent to consider, at least having conversations with their kids,
Right.
age appropriate conversations with their kids about. And so we just wanted to share our hearts. We're not saying that this everything that we're going to cover is prescriptive, but we think these are good talking points to give other parents some good nuggets. So the first thing we wanted to talk about was number one, setting the stage for all really financial activity, and that's earning. Before a child can do anything with money, in our opinion, they first need to be able to earn the money. And
Right.
so we want the way we currently do it. We even at our kids' earliest age, we allow them to have some type of chore system that they can actually put money, where they can actually earn money, and they can clearly see exactly when they do their chores, when they do the things they're supposed to do, what they get from it.
Yeah, and so one of the main things that I tell the kids all the time is that money does not grow on trees. And so definitely we've set in a place where they can see what they're doing and how they're actually earning money. And so I've actually created, or we both have, this system where they have what's called payroll sheets. And so they themselves are responsible for checking off when they've done certain chores, and each chore has an allotted amount of earning that they can actually achieve or receive. And they actually have to turn in payroll sheets at the end of the week, which have to be signed off by themselves as well as one of us. And so I tell them all the time, if you don't turn in payroll sheets on time, you don't get paid. So pretty much kind of teaching them the same responsibilities that they would have on a job.
Right. And I know what some of you guys are probably thinking. They're like, wow, that's a lot. That,
It is a lot.
they have a job. Are we teaching them that jobs are supreme? No. But what we are teaching them is that basically nothing in life is free,
Right.
except salvation, and even that costs our Savior something, right? So we want to just let them know, hey, even to the smallest child, our daughter who is 4, there's opportunity for you to do something productive, and for you to get a wage for that.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing.
Now, let me also say, too, though, the kids laugh because each time they give me the chore sheet, I pretty much ask them, so if you didn't do your chores and we didn't pay you, what would be the consequences for you not doing your chores, or what would be the consequences for us not paying you? So they can begin to kind of think about how jobs work. And so most of the time they'll pretty much tell me, as it relates to them not doing their chores, they'll say, well, Mom, we know that we have to do our chores regardless of whether you pay us or not. And I said, okay, well, I just want to make sure you understand that.
Right. So we want to stress that them not doing some chores are not an option. They still have to do some chores, irregardless of whether they get paid or not. But that pay definitely gives them an additional incentive to do chores, and it also once again teaches them that the more diligent and the more disciplined they are in doing those chores, they're going to be able to reap those rewards. So now once I guess some type of compensation or some type of earning is established, so many other lessons can be taught to kids about finances that would be hard to teach otherwise. So the next lesson, of course, is what do you do with the money once you have the money? Once again, giving a child money just without them earning anything that doesn't really help them appreciate the money. But once they've earned the money, now it's the time to talk about, okay, how do we distribute that money? Us personally,
Right.
because we are people of faith, we are strong believers in giving, and more specifically, giving to back to
For sure.
God. Now,
Right.
we're not advocating that everybody that's listening to us uh, believes that they should give to God, but we would say it's important, I think, to have the kids have a giving bucket to go somewhere. So with that giving bucket, we require at least 10% of their earnings go into that giving bucket. We then also require another 10% going to a savings bucket, and then the other 80% to go into spending. Now, here's the key. I said 10% for giving, 10% for saving. That's minimum. Our desire is for them to give a lot more, right, TK?
Right, definitely. Desire is for them to give a lot more, and so we're already kind of teaching those things that you're gonna kind of be led to even give more. And so, even as it relates to the savings bucket, even though we say a minimum 10%, what we find is that we push them to actually want to have a desire to give more. And so, what we find is that each time they earn, they want to put more into savings, they want to put more into giving, and they want to have less that they're using for spending purposes. Because right now they're even thinking long term, and so they have short term goals already and long term goals. And so of course they seem kind of kiddie as relates to the younger ones. Marray's short term goal may be, I'm saving up for Coney Ice to have each month, and Aaron's long term goals may be
Now,
that.
real quick, when she says Marray, she's not talking about
Oh
me.
yeah.
So I'm not a fan of Coney Ice, but our 6-year-old son, who's about to be 7, he
Yeah.
loves Coney Ice. And for those who are uninitiated, it's a snow cone basically. But
Right.
he loves those
Too
snow
expensive
cones.
though. Yeah.
Yes, but to TK's point, that is his motivator. So we just plant that seed that, hey, if you want to be able to afford this Coney Ice, we want you to think about what it's going to take for you to have enough money to be able to afford that every time the school is offering it.
Right. And so that just kind of leads to kind of teaching the kids about budgeting as well. And so Marray wants Coney Ice every month. So, hey, you need to budget yourself where you're able to purchase those Coney Ice each month. Erin, for example, she likes a little bit more than what little Marray likes, and so she likes to be a part of clubs and she likes to purchase gifts for people. And so having her to kind of think about how she needs to set her budget up as it relates to those particular things. And so for our oldest, Jalen, he actually has a budget that's laid out in a thorough and complete spreadsheet.
Now, once again, these are age appropriate, I guess, plans. So, just for the audience, Erin is 10. She's going to 5th grade. So even though she doesn't have an Excel spreadsheet, of course, at 10 going on 11, she definitely has a more complex items or things that she's thinking about than the 6-year-old. And of course, for Jalen, who's 17, going into his senior year in high school, his plan should be more intricate than the other two, and so it is. So we've actually sat down with him, and we've actually worked through a spreadsheet where because he has a summer job this summer, and he's putting money away in an investment account as well as a bank account. But in addition to that, we've already started thinking through, okay, on a monthly basis, what are some of the big things that you're going to want to spend your money on, and how can we create a budget that makes sure that you are able to do some of the fun things you want to do, but still also do some of the deeper things that you need to do. One of those deeper needs is, he wants to drive. So once again, we're all about empowering our kids to do the things that they want to do that are, of course, God honoring. So we told them, okay, great, you want to drive? you gotta pay the piper in terms of making sure you can do that insurance. So we've already kind of mapped out a plan for him to engage with us and partner with us in his insurance plan.
Yeah, and so even so with the insurance plan, we're teaching him lessons too about already thinking about how he's earning his money. So Jalen has a job, but Jalen also has a side gig as well. And then in addition to that, getting him to think about like, hey, how do I communicate with my boss when I need more hours because there are certain needs that I have, or there may just be certain wants that I have as well. And so a lot of that is kind of still teaching him how to think about his budget and also still how to communicate as an adult pretty much, because he's pretty much right around the corner from being an adult and on his own and not having to depend on us directly.
Absolutely. And so once again, for us, we think all of these things are helping them mature and to think about money in a, I guess, meaningful way. One that's not making money the end all be all, but also valuing money properly. So the last thing, or the next thing, we wanted to just kind of share some other real world examples of things that we've done with our kids. Once again, we're not advocating this for everybody, but just things that we thought would be helpful for them to start thinking about money in a positive way.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we've been doing lately is that getting the kids to be more conscious about how they waste or how they use things. And so the kids have been taking trips with me to the grocery store. And so those main items that we constantly see them overusing and because they haven't spent their own money on, they're responsible for buying those items. And so in the case, it may be cereal. If you are eating too much cereal or you're overeating cereal and we're constantly buying cereal, most of the time they're in the store trying to figure out, okay, what's the best value for the cereal that we're trying to get? And so each kid is still responsible for going through the process of thinking through how much money they have before they walk into the store. They're also going through the process of going down each aisle, looking for the things that they need and looking for the costs and actually comparing those costs with the other items. And then they actually go through the actual checkout line with the actual cashier themselves, and they will actually purchase the items. So they have to think about how much money they spend, how much change they're going to get back. And so they're actually having that experience so they themselves can be more conscious with how they're actually using their money, and then also thinking about how they can be more useful as it relates to the household and not being too wasteful.
And once again, I know for some of you, you're probably thinking, man, y'all doing way too much. But I would say this, and maybe we are. I'll be the first to say maybe we are. But here's the thing, we take the responsibility in terms of making sure our young people become mature adults seriously. At the end of the day, I want each one of them to get out into the real world with an appreciation for exactly what it takes to run a household. And we feel like, once again, especially when it comes to waste, the quickest way to help somebody appreciate the value of something is have them spend their own money on it. Because I guarantee, what we clearly saw, because I'll give a perfect example. One of the things we saw is that, I'm trying to think, it was barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
They were wasting a ton of barbecue sauce. I mean,
any condiments.
Any condiment, they were putting just tons of it on their plates. And when we had them start buying their own condiments, it changed.
Yes.
They immediately were like, wait. Do I need all this? And that's, once again, and that actually leads into the next topic. Once again, we want them to understand that there is emotions related to how you spend money, and that's one of the things that as TK and I have journeyed with our own journey, we've recognized is that emotions play such a huge role in terms of what you spend and why you spend it. And so one of the things we've been stressing to them, and of course most of you guys I'm sure have heard the saying, never go to the grocery store hungry. Why is that? Is because you don't want that emotion or that hunger pain to drive your decision making process. And so we've been trying to strategically help our kids understand you don't want that in your financial situation either. Anytime you get ready to go to a store and you're feeling some type of emotion, either you're really high up on some item. Oh, I just really want this because Johnny or Billy or somebody else has it already. You probably need to step back and really evaluate: is it truly the purchase consistent with the thing that you say you value?
Right.
Like TK mentioned, Marray really likes Coney Ice. So one of the things we did with him is when he would go to the store and he would see other things he wanted to spend his money on. And once again, I'm not saying Coney Ice is the high level value, but
to him it is.
In his world at this point,
Yeah.
that is one of his high values. He always want to have a Coney Ice when the school
has it. Yeah.
So we ask him simply, Marray, okay, you want this other thing. It may prevent you from getting your higher value thing. Are you sure you want to do this? And we allow him to think through the process because we don't want him to make a short-term emotional decision. And so we really recognize that for our kids, and heck, let's just be honest, for everybody, emotions have to be accounted for. So we try to get them to say, okay, if you really want it, wait in their world, wait a few hours. In our world, maybe wait 48 hours, but we try to get them to have a quote unquote cooling off period before they make that purchase. And it doesn't always work.
No, because I have this saying, when they come ask me for things, I'm like, let me think about it. And they already know what that means. That means she's waiting to see if this really is what needs to occur.
Right.
So.
Right. And so once again, our intent for our children is to just make sure, like I said, they have a healthy respect for money and that they understand that so much of decision making around money is emotion driven. But with that being said, it's nothing wrong with having some of the things that you want, but also having a strategic thought process in terms of other things. So once again, just to recap, for us, it's important for them to have 3 buckets: the giving bucket, the savings bucket, and the spending bucket. Am I missing anything else that we wanted to cover, TK?
I think that's good because when you think about it, I think the other good example is kind of getting them to kind of think about what they value mostly and think about if they really want to save money most of the time. Because even with little Marray, we've been talking a lot about the Coney Ice, but it's serious, you guys, really serious, to the point where Marray eventually found out that if you didn't buy Coney Ice, you could get a free popsicle. And so he himself, as a 6-year-old, decided that I'm not going to spend my money on a Coney Ice when I can get a free popsicle. But guess what happened in return? He actually started being tempted by the fact that he could see other people still getting Coney Ice. And so sometimes we're driven by that particular temptation or that particular emotion where we see other people getting something, and so we think we need to have it, or it's just our conscience just kind of tells us, well, everybody else is doing it, so why not? And so Marray kind of fell back into that again, which is why we still have to kind of focus in on, hey, you need a Coney Ice budget.
Right. But check this out, y'all. How awesome. And it may sound like a bad problem to have, but how awesome is it for us to be able to start addressing those heart conditions at an early age before he gets out into the real world, and it's not a Coney Ice, or it's a Mercedes Benz that's going to cost him $80,000 when he could have been okay in a Honda Accord. Now here's the thing. I'm not saying anything is wrong with a Mercedes, if you can afford it. Here's the problem though. A lot of times people have higher level goals and dreams that they want to achieve, that they say that they value more, but because of that pressure from other people, they'll sometimes succumb to that pressure and do things that are not truly in line or congruent to what they say they value most. And so we are trying to allow him to see, even at his age, that hey, there's going to be some temptations that are there that may not be congruent or may not be aligned with what I say I really value, and I'm going to be tempted, and how do I navigate that temptation? And so we're thankful that we have an opportunity to, at an early age, have him started to process the true situation in his heart, so that he can understand, hey, just because I'm feeling this temptation, I don't have to succumb to it. I might not win every battle, but I can at least recognize that there is a battle within my own heart that I need to fight through if I want to do the things that I say I value most. I know that's really deep, y'all. When we're talking about a 6-year-old, but guess what? Those same situations happen in everyday life with regular with adults. That happens in my heart. I have to have those struggles. And guess what? When I was that age, when I was 20, when I was 30, I had very few people approaching me and talking to me about, hey, there's battles that you're gonna have to fight, and it's okay to not succumb to your emotions, but to fall back onto the things you say you value most. And so we're trying to teach that early on.
Yeah. And so definitely want to focus in on giving them all of that, because we know that they won't be little beings very long. They're going to be adults soon. And so you want to think about that. And so our desire is that they won't make some of the same decisions or choices that we've made, even though they're human. And so they will make some decisions that they probably won't find to be wise, but we're hoping that they'll find more wise, they'll have more wise decisions to make than unwise decisions to make.
And let's end by me asking you the question: why do you think it's so important for our kids to make decisions based on their values versus their emotions?
Well, you think about it, is that if they continue to make decisions based on just emotions, they'll end up, for example, overspending, becoming more in debt, and pretty much putting themselves further backwards or further back than they need to be. And so if they have financial goals that they're trying to achieve, then it's going to be hard to achieve those goals if they're constantly just being swayed and moved by those particular emotions and feelings.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've had a great conversation. We hope that something that we said resonates with you. If not the actual application, at least the concept.
That's a concept.
So we feel blessed to be able to have conversations with you. We really would love to encourage you to chime in the comments wherever you are consuming this media. Tell us what you think. Give us some feedback. And once again, I'm Marray.
And I'm TK.
And this is Heart and Wallet. Have a blessed evening.
People get ready, yeah. Where has this country come from? It's been forever and a day. I told them get on board, so let's ride. Yeah, let's go. I put my pride to the side. Yeah. I push my ego out the way. It's been forever and a day.